Hi,
Hey,
Goksu. Welcome to Baatein.
thank you. Nice to see you again.
It's nice to see you too. All right, so meanwhile everybody joins, I'll just introduce you. Gyoksu is a Milan-based product service system designer who is interested in the qualitative insights gathered during design research that is hidden at the intersection of people, services, and systems. And currently, she's researching sustainable and ethical ways for fashion systems. Also, because this is a collaboration with Open Electives, I should mention that she's an instructor right now at NID for an open elective course under the title Make Flicks and the Everyday as a Playground. So, welcome once again, Yoksu. We are very excited to have you and can't wait for
Thank
this
you.
session to begin.
I am happy to be here too. Thank you very much.
All right, so I think we'll begin now. So, just to start off, like not about your design journey first, I was very curious to know what your name means because it's such a unique name and I've never come across it before. So, if you could share with us a little bit about it.
Yeah, of course. Um, it's a Turkish name, first of all. I am Turkish, for those who may be not able to understand from the name. And in Turkey, we have many names coming from nature, natural elements like the sky, like the rain, like the forest, and sun. So my name means sky water.
Oh,
Gök means
wow.
sky, Su means water, and for the last 10 years, I have been using Su only because working in an international environment, and now I am living in Italy. So it is much easier for everyone to pronounce only Su. And I like to be called as water because it makes me feel like, yeah, I am flowing in life and, just changing my shape based on, adapting to different shapes. And yeah, I like to be a part of nature.
Wow, that's a very beautiful name. So, is it okay if I call you Sue? So that'd
Yeah,
be a little
please
easier for
call
me.
me Michael.
Okay, so yeah, so moving on. So I read one of your interviews with this company called Yebanji. I may be pronouncing it wrong, but you said in that interview that it's a very terrifying question to ask, what does a product service system designer do? So instead of asking that, I'd like to frame it in a different way. So, what does product service system design mean to you? And if you had to introduce it to a newbie who's completely unaware of even what industrial design is, how would you put it forward?
Mhm. Well, thank you for putting in a rephrased way that question. Still, it is very difficult to understand, but also it is funny when I say this because services are around us. So we interact with services and systems. We live in systems in our daily lives. So as a product designer designs a product to make it usable and, like make functional, we design services, and service can be anything that you interact in your daily life. Imagine that you go out, you need to go somewhere, and you take a bus. So it's like a public bus, and it's a part of a public service. Or you need to do a bank transfer, you go to online banking, and you live an experience there. Or very simply put, thinking about restaurants, it's also part of a service because you go there, you are being served something, and you have like some personal interaction, but also you are served the food, and products, services, and systems are actually existing together in our daily lives, and you shouldn't have to look far away because it's in our everyday interactions. And for me, service design is helping for everyone to navigate easier in this life because we live, in a society where we are kind of codependent each other, and
Hmm.
we exchange experiences, and we all have a job. So I can be the one who is providing you a service, and you can also, exchange something with me. In short, I say like services, they exist in every day in our lives. And then as service designer, imagine like you're waiting in a line and you're feeling bored or you feel lost when you're using a service. And what can be done that you can redesign that experience so people don't feel frustrated. They do their, things in an easier way without having any problem.
Yeah, all right. I think that explains it very well to everybody here. Moving on to how did you find your niche in product service system design? Because as we all know right now that it's a very unheard of field. So what's your journey been like from your younger age into design until
Okay.
today? Yeah.
Okay. So when I started studying design, there were not so many options. I'm not that old, by the way, but I feel I sound like a 50-year-old. Yeah. I studied industrial design, and service design was not in, wide range, even if didn't exist. So with my school in Turkey, university, I made an Erasmus program to Italy, that exchange program, and there I find out the first time the course called Product Service System Design. And when I happened to see some projects, like student projects that were exhibiting in the campus about service design, I find it quite interesting because it helped me to see the bigger picture of what our designs were being part of. So when we are studying more traditional design practices like maybe industrial design, graphic design, we usually feel just like very focused into details because you want to make it technically functioning, technically happening. But at the same time, actually you're designing for a system. So everything you do actually becomes a part of something bigger than you. So when I explore a bit more service design, like the academic approach, but also like how it can influence and create bigger impact in people's life, I felt it was my responsibility to, create a positive impact, and services and systems was much more stronger in creating that impact instead of just focusing maybe a detail of a product design. That's how I got curious into studying services.
All right, it's actually a very wonderful journey that you've had. Also, you were talking about creating an impact in the society and how you really wanted to do it. And in a lot of your work, you say that you are environmentally inclined in systems in order to create change in the environment, to give back something, if I'm not wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So this idea of creating an environmental impact as a designer, when did it click first?
Okay. Nice question. Actually, this is not a new concept, environmental design. If any of you design students didn't read Victor Papanek's Design for the Real Life, you need to read that book. It was like one of the first things I studied when I was a design student. And actually there, it shows you the dark side of the design that might, go towards, because design has a potential to change people's behavior and also in a way to fool them, because we can also design things to make people desire something that they might not need in their lives. So when you go into real working life and when you have that, power in your hands, it's up to you if you're using your superpower in creating something good, nudging people towards something positive, or nudging people something, to consume them more. Because when you design anything that is people interacting with, you are kind of helping them or manipulating them. So we can still manipulate people in a way that, we nudge them towards a better behavior. But if you look at the consumer society, especially in a capitalist society, it's very sadly sad. There are so many manipulations happening in service design world. That's why I was thinking like all the designer needs to be conscious about, what is design ethics and how you are actually holding a power in your hands that can influence with your design other people's life in a positive or negative way. So that's how I actually started to become more, conscious about my design solutions.
Yeah, I think that's extremely important at today's time, and that's really wonderful that people like you are doing such things. Also, so talking about your projects, like the Makefix playbook and the Get Wasted project that you have. So, like, these do revolve around upcycling and creative repair, if I'm not wrong, right? So, do you intend to create these projects to
Yes.
make large scale impact? And if yes, like how do you intend to do it? Because even if we have a certain audience, to expand the audience, there must be some ways that you might be trying to follow something, right?
Okay, good question. Um, I don't know where to start. So actually, you are right. It is not easy to change the world in one day. There is this famous saying that Rome isn't built in a day. But I really believe if we can change people's mental models, if we can really understand what motivates them, and if we can show, you know, the right behavior with the right channels, with the right tools, you can really eventually create a bigger change in the system. But this needs to start from somewhere. So with Makeflix and Get Wasted, what we are trying to do is creating a community of like-minded people, and with our work, we want to show them what is possible, what an alternative, you know, can be against what you already find in the system. So instead of throwing away a thing that you call as a waste or a garbage, we can show that actually you can look at the garbage with different eyes. You can convert it to something desirable again. So again, like if we talk about fashion systems, like imagine a t-shirt that you buy, you maybe have, you really liked it, but then after 2 months, it has a hole in it. So instead of like saying and being upset about there's a hole, how you can change your approach and maybe celebrate that hole, because there lies an opportunity to create a new narration out of that hole by applying a repair project, or maybe like turning that t-shirt into something else. So to make the long story short, yes, I hope that we will create a bigger impact, but it starts with, I think, individual baby steps. Because if I do and I show it to you, and you do, you get inspired, you show to your family, and like, you know, we are all connected, interconnected, and we human beings live in like, we are tied together in these networks of social media, but also word of mouth. We are all connected. So I really believe the power of positive storytelling and showing people positive example and motivating them towards changing their daily behavior, even with small baby steps. If we can do it collectively, small, step by step, we will achieve a bigger, I think, change in the world. It's all about how you are, I think, putting your message out of them. And what we are showing with Makeflix and with Get Wasted, with the project, we want to inspire people and invite them to join us and create a larger community that can inspire each other and spread the, let's say, a global movement.
Right. I hope from this conversation, at least, people get to know about Makeflix, because I saw one of the examples in which you had an ink stain on the t-shirt, and you converted this ink stain into flying birds. So that was a very interesting idea that I found. So I hope everybody takes this forward and reads more about it. So talking about upcycling projects, do you think that, so this is just my opinion, do you think that upcycling project is just basically slowing down the process of disposal? Because eventually you will be throwing this particular object that you have. So what are your views on this?
Yeah, yeah, actually, in a certain sense, you're right, because in the end, the project, like the object you upcycled, can also, you know, have a end life in the end. So I don't know, it depends on the materials actually, like how much you can upcycle. But maybe the biggest, like the easiest solution would be to design objects, design clothing, design whatever, you know, for long lasting in the world. So instead of like buying something that you would throw away in 2 years, buy something more quality, but it can last longer. So how we can actually changing our mindset about how we look at the upcycling project is something else that you can, of course, like there should be some material innovation in that so it can last longer, because the more it lasts, you can circulate it more. So although I will get bored about my upcycling, I don't know, project one day, I can still give it to someone else and they can still, you know, give another meaning to it. So there are different angles where we can approach this actually.
Yeah,
but I think
because
it's all
what
about,
I was, yeah, sorry,
it's all
go on.
about changing our perspective. So how is your approach to something that is maybe stained or something that is broken? So if you can really love them and if you can really like create an emotional connection with the objects around you, you will take care of them. They will last longer, but at the same time, you will find some creative ways to keep them in your life, and you can also repair and upcycle and maybe like send it to someone else, like make a gift of for a friend, or you know, share it with the world. That object always like hides their hidden meanings behind, like someone else can discover if it is not you.
Yeah, right. Makes a lot of sense. Thank you. I had another question related to your research strategies that you have. So when you talk about product service system design, you must be doing a lot of user research, right? So
Yes.
in the times of the pandemic, how has it affected you? And what are the ways in which you approach user research?
Okay. Usually, I really enjoyed my job because most of my time was in the field. We conduct field research, you know, like a journalist going to a new country and like interviewing people around, or an anthropologist that goes and, you know, lives with a community to understand their cultures and like daily rituals and stuff. So we, as designers and researchers, we were having that approach. With pandemic, of course, it became a little bit more boring for me because I am not able to travel. I am not able to create this human contact. And also, we always try to go to people's homes if we would like to observe their living environment and, you know, how they would feel comfortable in their home, because observing their daily environment gives us lots of insights about their lifestyle, their beliefs, and, you know, the things that they are not telling us, but we can, you know, observe silently. Now, with pandemic, since we cannot have that kind of physical observation moment with people, everything is on like digital conversation channels. It was challenging in that way because the level of, you know, insights that you can get is less accessible that you would take otherwise by being physically together with those people. And we were maybe using more digital tools. So the pandemic helped a lot also in design research world to come up with new tools for doing remote user research. And I was like conducting diary studies through WhatsApp groups and asking people to send me like photos, send me videos of their house, because, you know, I cannot go there and be physically there. So it's required from my side much more effort to continue like managing a research project, because I was continue asking them, can you please share me, you know, this that you find at home? Can you please send me a video how you're using this, how you're doing that? So that was one downside. But if I have to talk about the positive sides, that we travel less, we take less airplanes, so we like less, you know, carbon. So this is something good, because when I see especially in the corporate life, like people travel more than necessary. Like I was having this projects, like just for 3 days I was flying to US, just for 2 days I was flying to South Korea. So it was not sustainable, both like in a personal level, but also like in environmental level. That's why I think now people, thanks to these digital tools, they are exploring new ways of working, and maybe we can avoid traveling that often now. That is a good thing.
Yeah, that's a very nice perspective on your part, I must say. So talking about conscious sustainability, this will be the last question from my side, then we'll move on to the audience questions. So I've seen in your work that you talk a lot about being conscious as to the decisions you make, and while you're moving towards sustainability, right? The conscious playground. So what do you think are some of the biggest challenges that an individual may face on this path of conscious sustainability if one is trying to reach that place?
Okay. Maybe I will take your question as an opportunity to introduce a concept called planet-centric design, because we always sell human-centered design as it's something desirable, as it's, putting the humans in the center is where to start as a designer, to find insight, to find, opportunities to revamp your businesses. But to be honest, human-centered design is killing the planet. So what I mean by being conscious is when we are involving in human-centered design activities, let's don't forget how our decisions, how our design solutions are influencing other, livings in the system, other animals, other maybe like environment of other actors in the system, other planetary resources in the system. Because in the modern life, unfortunately, we all got disconnected from our natural being, and we think that we are the designers and creators of the universe. I think we need to have a more humble attitude. I was thinking about comparing the human-centered design methodology and bringing a critic to it, because it's not sustainable anymore. Human-centered design is killing the planet if we are, excluding the rest, what actually makes us survive in this planet, within our natural ecosystem, within our planetary ecosystem. So when we are designing, just to sum up, if you are creating something, being respectful to environmental system, the ecosystem that you're living in. But on the other hand, when you're designing something for one group of people, you might be creating something bad, the influence for other people. So imagine you're creating Airbnb. That sounds a super cool idea, but in the end, it created a lot of gentrification that many people now they cannot afford, locals cannot afford in the cities to go for a rental house, because the prices are so increased, the real estate market. So the local people living in that city is seeing the negative side of Airbnb right now, because most of the landlords, they prefer to rent their apartments through Airbnb instead of giving longer rent, and people living in the city that they cannot, find appropriate and affordable housing. So these type of issues, always see think systematic and see how your design solution is influencing other living and non-living ecosystems.
Right. Yeah, that's actually very interesting. I mean, even I myself didn't think of it this way. So let's move on to the questions by the audience. So one question by Get Set Illustrate is, how might one address the problem of fast fashion at this scale? What are your thoughts on it?
Fast fashion, okay. Actually, fast fashion now is not, I think, doesn't belong to our era. Now we are in a new area that we need to really take care of our planet. And that means that we need to change our concept of what is affordable or what is well-being. Because if you look at our maybe 2 generations before, even our parents, they were approaching to clothing as something that is more valuable they were not buying something every month, but they were maybe buying one really nice clothing that could last for 50 years. I still have some like skirts, jacket that my grandmother passed, and they are like in perfect condition, much better than fast fashion products right now because they were designed to last. And these people took care of their clothing. So now I think the fast fashion is just giving us this placebo effect of like feeling rich, feeling that I am able to afford to buy lots of clothes. So that, you know, means that I have a good well-being. I'm a wealthy person. But maybe what we need to change is like our concept of well-being shouldn't be consumed more because fast fashion is based on that. Like what I can buy more, what is more affordable is not always what is best for you. So I think it should definitely comes from, it should initiate from a mindset shift rather than, you know, saying like, let's close all the factories, let's do this, let's do that. But it's all about like how you believe that, you know, what is the relationship with the consumption culture, how we can change it in a more maybe emotional level also.
Yeah, thank you. That was really a very nice answer. Another question is, do you have any suggestions on how to negotiate with governments that don't share your interests?
Okay. Well, I don't want to enter into politics, but if you're interested in, I think there are some opportunities that governmental projects that are, you know, accepting designers into their world. Like there are so many Go design projects because they would like to improve the citizen experience. They start with like public services, but then I think like we are slowly arriving there. Yeah, I don't know what to say because it totally depends on which country you are. Like, if I think about Turkey, like, you know, having a relationship with the government is not that easy if you are not already inside, like to reach out. But maybe if you're in Canada or if you were in Europe or like in maybe North Europe, it might be easier. But maybe try to see some case studies of like some design studios who are working for the government. The government itself, they wanted designers to be in their like in-house team of the government.
Yeah.
Yeah, but maybe, yeah, trying to find some allies, navigating in your own culture in your own way. Yeah,
I hope,
just that.
I hope that answered your question, Tushar. So there are a lot of questions pouring in, but because we're running out of time, I'll just take one more interesting question that I found. Okay. So Raja Vinod says, how would you relate planet-centered design with UX in this digital design era?
Okay. Well, as simple as is, think about your telephone, think about, you know, all the materials that is inside your phone to produce your phone that are coming from some, you know, materials. So there are some minories and, you know, there are some maybe people who are being exploited in extraction of those materials. Try to understand maybe like you can go in the ethical part of it and it is not, you know, human friendly because it's not ethical to exploit people to extract all these materials, or maybe this mine extraction can also ruin the ecosystem of the places where they are doing mining. So yeah, when we think about electronic products especially, this is one thing. The components of, you know, how you build your phone, all like batteries and stuff, they're also like how they are recycling batteries. I have no idea. Probably, you know, it's drainaging to some, you know, underwater system that's coming back to us through our food. We don't know, but I'm sure you can get more information. And more about the digital thing, like we always want to design website where people can store, but also like storing that information is requiring some sort of, data warehouse. Like imagine a warehouse that is digital, like we need to keep our data somewhere, and there are lots of like energy resources that needs to be used for that. So just ask yourself while you're, rushing into a problem solution, which includes some digital interactions or like a website or app, do I really need this? Is there any other way to do this? Like be mindful about that as well.
Yeah. I hope that answered your question, Raja Vinod. So we have a lot of questions that are coming in, but unfortunately we've run out of time. This was a wonderful session, Sue, and it was amazing talking to you and getting an insight as to what a product service system designer does. So thank you so much for coming to Baatein, and we hope to have you soon so that we can have a longer session than this and answer all the questions. So thank you so much. I hope you had a good time.
Like to reach out and send me your questions, maybe we can create a discussion on another channel. You can write me an email or, reach out. I would like to answer all the questions. Like half an hour is never enough.
Yeah, I know, right? Definitely, I'll reach out. I'll send you all the questions and we can plan something after this.
Yeah, would love to. Thank you very much for inviting me.
It was fun. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Have a good day. Bye. Take care.